everybody, I'm Trillium. I'm going to do my best to provide this entire presentation without using my hands. We'll see how it goes. So here we go. Slide next. Hey, who am I? Slide next. I'm Trillium. I'm an open source software developer. I live in Los Angeles. Um, I'm a partner dancer. I've had a pasta massage therapy, and over the years, through that work, I've kind of worn down my body a bit. And so over time, I had a lot more aches and pains. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be great if I could do a lot more of my computer-based actions without having to actually be in front of a keyboard and mouse? It all started for me in, excuse me, slide next. It all started for me right around like 2021. The pandemic had completely shut down my previous work, and I was looking for something else to dig my hands into. And I came across a talk by Emily Shea about her journey with RSI and how she got into hands-free computer use. Um, and the system has developed a lot since then. I think the hands-free computer use systems have been around for a while. Um, but in particular, over the past like 4 or 5 years, the community who develops the open source command set for Talon Voice um, has really like honed the API of exactly how one can use this system easily. Slide next. So why use a hands-free system in the first place? Slide next. The first reason, of course, is accessibility. For anybody who doesn't have easy access to their hands and their fingers, or um, typing can hurt, things like that. Maybe your arm just doesn't work as well as it used to. Um, Having the ability to access the same web experience, computer experience as regular people, able-bodied people, um, is super helpful. Of course, then there's also productivity. There's things that I find are easier to do for me in a voice-based format. And then, of course, when you get to do hands-free computer use very well, it looks like magic. It's super fun. Slide next. So the state of voice accessible tools at the moment, there's been a lot of changes specifically with tools like ChatGPT. Slide next. Um, Voice assistants for your phone, Siri and Google, ChatGPT, and then there's also vehicle voice assistants. One of the things that I find a bit constrictive about those other environments is that um, the ability to change them, to update them, to have them do exactly what you want is very closed. Whereas a system like Talon Voice, everything that my system is going to execute is user defined in a way that I can go and look through the code and change things if I need to. Slide next. So what exactly is Talon Voice in the first place? Talon Voice is an application written in Rust. It has an audio language model that is constantly listening in the background. Slide next. Has an audio language model that's constantly listening in the background. When it hears an utterance that will match some predefined command set, it finds the one that matches it the most, and then it executes that action. Slide next. So what operating systems can run Talon Voice? And the answer to that, slide next, is currently all of them except for Linux with Wayland, because the current accessibility suite is not super great at the moment. They're working on it. But if you are going to use Linux, then you have to use X11. Slide next. Do you need to run an internet connection when you're using Talon Voice? Slide next. No, no, you don't. One of the great things about it is that it all runs locally. So if you happen to work at a FANG organization or somewhere that has their systems more locked down for security purposes, you should still be able to get a system like Talon Voice authorized if you need it. Slide next. All right. So what exactly is happening when it comes to how we can use a system like Talon Voice? Slide next. So if we were gonna write like spell out a website, for example, we'd have to do something like say HTTP colon backslash www dot. One of the challenging things about the English alphabet is that a lot of the letters sound the same. So B, C, D, E, G, P, T, Z, all those letters have a very similar sound. They rhyme. And so essentially, a model trained on audio is going to have a harder time determining, it's going to have a harder time determining those sounds. So we need to use an alphabet that is more easily recognized by some sort of computer system. Slide next. And an alphabet like this already exists. There's probably multiples of them, but for example, the native phonetic alphabet that's used by pilots um, is very easy. It's good to be able to differentiate the letters, but one of the problems is like November for N, that's three syllables. And if you're speaking all day long, that can be a challenge. And so Talon Voice uses its own uh, over time, the users of Talon Voice have determined that there's like words that are more easily recognized by the system, and you can use words that are shorter. And so the Talon Voice alphabet that is recommended from the get-go looks like this. Slide next. Um, yeah, so if I wanted to write the letter I would use the word air, ABC, airback cap. This is the default alphabet. I pulled this image from the Emily Shea's website from wellquenched.club. My alphabet, I've updated it a little bit. It looks a little different. Help alphabet. Um, and so I've been like testing out other words, and for R, I've got risk, and for O, I've got oats that are both in there. And one of the nice things is that like if you want to update your alphabet, um, it's a pretty easy process to get more letters that you can test out. Help close. Slide next. And so where what is Talon good at? Like if I were to want to integrate Talon into my regular workflow, and I don't necessarily need to use it all the time, what exactly is the areas where I would want to integrate Talon easily in my workflow? Let's see here. Slide next. Um, Talon is really good at writing text from the current cursor position. So if I wanted to do any sort of dictation, Talon has an integrated dictation option for that. Organizing window positions, I tend to find it easier in Talon Voice. Um, Formatting variable names. One of the hardest parts about voice coding is making sure that the everything matches in a code window, and that can be more challenging if you're having to dictate uh, special characters. Um, So yes, entering special characters like $, curly brackets, and then of course repeating actions. One of my favorite things about this system is how simple it is to repeat actions. Slide next. So what's hard about using Talon Voice? Um, One of the things I find challenging about it, slide next, is complex mouse actions. Any sort of um, action where I need to do some sort of clicking and dragging. Doing it purely by voice is pretty hard. Sometimes I will move back to my trackpad to be able to do that. Or there's also a couple of different like coordinate type systems that can be used. Um, and then of course there's a humongous amount of commands already that ship with the Talon Voice or Talon Hub community command set. And so discovering those pre-made pieces of code is a bit challenging. I learned about a new one recently that I'll show off in a little bit. And then of course, using Talon Voice in a noisy space makes it so that sometimes other people's uh, speaking shows up and messes with my computer a little bit here and there. Luckily, I can turn it on and off when I need to. And then of course, remembering the commands, like I feel like the learning curve can be pretty rough in the beginning. Um, Slide next. One of the great things about Talon is that it's also extremely extensible. So um, being able to hook in other tools into Talons is pretty simple. Or I guess I wouldn't necessarily say it's simple, but it is very doable. Slide next. There's a bunch of extensions um, currently that like will uh, increase the usefulness of the Talon Voice system. One of my favorite ones is called Gaze OCR. And OCR stands for Object Character Recognition. So if I wanted to um, interact with text on the screen, Gaze OCR will take a screenshot of the current screen and then index all of the words on the screen, and then I can do like complex actions like selecting or moving the mouse before a thing or double clicking on a thing. Rango is a Chrome extension that I use to navigate the web. Um, I I find this one essential. It renders a list of characters, like two characters, one or two characters, alphabetical characters before every single interactive button. I know Mecca had a talk earlier on accessibility, and Rango uses accessibility tools to create voice-based interactions on websites. Cursorless is one of my favorite tools in Talon Voice. It's kind of what got me interested in the system in the first place was how can I use a voice-based system to write code on a daily basis. And Cursorless makes that way easier. There's AI tools that I currently don't use right now, but they allow for running LLM uh, interactions. So like if you had some text selected and you wanted to format it or check for spelling, things like that. And then there's also a extension called Parrot, which lets you train custom sounds. So for example, integrated into Talon by default is the pop sound. But if you wanted to make another sound like knocking on a table or making a louder click sound with your mouth, something like that, those sounds can be associated with different actions in the Talon Voice system. Slide next. So we've arrived at the demo section of the talk, and I'm going to do my best to make everything so seamless. Uh, let's see here. So the first thing that we're going to do is slide next. Take a look at how to format text, specifically variable names. And then let's see here. So right now, there's a gray icon in the top of my screen with an RO in it. When that icon is blue, that means that the system is in command mode. Currently, it's in sleep mode, and so I've authorized some actions like slide next and slide previous, which is going to do a thing right now. Let's see if it actually. No, okay, cool. Since it's listening to me, sometimes when I talk about the next actions I'm going to take, I have to deal with the results of that in the system. All right, so I'm going to wake up Talon, and then I'm going to go to a text window, and then I'm going to do some formatting. Wakey wakey, focus Chrome, zoom in third, sentence the quick brown fox, dross. So my sleep word is dross. So when you hear me say that, I'm turning off the system. And right now in the top there, the icon is gray, and so it's in sleep mode. And of course, there's still a couple things that are slipping through there that allow me to do like go forward and go back actions. Um, okay, so that was the formatter sentence. Talon wake, help formatters. Um, I'm going to move this out of the way with my mouse. Currently, my action for putting stuff to sleep also takes away the help windows, and so I'm going to use a key to turn the system off right now. Oops, there we go. Get that out of the way. Thank you. Talon wake, lap, all cap, the quick round fox. Uh, lap, camel, the quick brown fox. So dross. Cool. So that's using formatters to insert text. Talon wake, focus beta, slide next. Oh, hey, dross. There's also dictation. Talon has an integrated dictation mode, and so let's see how that goes. Talon wake, slide previous. Oh, slide next. Focus Chrome, Command Air, clear left, Mode dictation. Okay, so now I'm in dictation mode. And that's gonna take everything that I'm saying, and as the system recognizes my voice utterances, it'll write them down. Um, I can do things like period, comma, question mark within dictation mode, and those are fairly simple, but they don't necessarily use the same like shorthand. Like for example, the shorthand that I have for a comma in when Talon is in command mode looks something like uh, drip. Oh, never mind. There it is. I thought it would be harder. Mode dictation, excuse me, mode command, focus beta, slide next. All right, dross. So, as I said earlier, the main reason why I got into this in the first place was so that I could do voice coding. And there's a extension. Oh, I guess we're going to demo cursorless and um, coding at the same time. There's an extension called cursorless, which will render a dot. I'll just show it off right now. Talon Wake, focus code, dross. Um, it'll render a dot above every single important block of text on the screen. So for example, I've got the I here with a dot virtual, excuse me, there's an I above there's a dot above the I in the word virtual. And so if I were to use the word for I in the system, then I could interact with this line here. Let's see here. Talon Wake, help alphabet, take sit, dross. I should really change that. Currently, of course, when I say dross, it's going to get rid of the help windows. Talon Wake, help alphabet. Okay, so we've selected the word virtual here with the token for the word for I, which in this case is sit. So if I wanted to do a more complex action, Talon Wake, comment line sit, Talon Sleep, Talon Sleep. There we go. So if I wanted to do more complex action, I could say that I want to interact with the line associated with the token I. And in this case, we used a comment action, and so since the line is already commented, it commented it. And currently, cursorless, or excuse me, Talon Voice also does hot reloading. And so if I were to save this file, then I should be able to use this action right away. Talon Wake, Talon Wake, command history, disk, lap third, virtual coffee emoji, dross. There goes the help windows again. That's okay. So yeah, so this is a really easy way or here's an example of generating a command in Talon Voice. And then now I need to get rid of this because if I save this again, it's going to make the file error. Um, wakey wakey, chuck line, dross. Oh, wakey wakey, focus beta, slide next, dross. Okay, what about actually navigating the web in Chrome? Let's see here. Wakey wakey, focus Chrome, go tab 1, Talon Sleep. So on the screen is a bunch of rendered letters above every single interaction, like a link here. So if I were to say the words, let me see here. If I wanted to go to, I'm already in the pull request. If I wanted to go to the base of the repository and look at the README, I would say find made. Talon Wake, find made, dross. Okay, of course, that's navigating links, but what about actually tabbing down the screen or, moving where the viewport is? Talon Wake, wakey wakey, downer, downer, dross. So there's a simple kind of view window shifting with the word downer, and that just moves the window. But of course, if that's a little saying downer every time is probably not the most ideal. And so we can get into something like um, repeating actions. And so if my system is awake, Talon wake, downer, dross, and I make a pop sound, then it'll repeat the previous action. Um, yeah, okay. Talon wake, focus beta, slide next, dross. And I talked about tiling. Tiling's pretty great. Let's see how it works right now. Talon wake, focus chrome, snap right, focus code, snap left, dross. Okay, well, that's an easy version of tiling, but what about something a little more complicated? Talon wake, wakey wakey, focus chrome, snap right 2/3, focus code, snap top left third, focus terminal, snap bottom left third, dross. Cool. Window tiling. It's pretty great. Talon wake, focus beta, slide next, dross. Okay, well, does anybody have any questions at this time? If you got them, put them in the chat. I'll do my best to answer things. And I think what I'm actually going to do is hopefully make Becca handle the questions, and I'll answer them as they come in.
Yeah, excellent. That was so amazing. I think like you really showed what you can accomplish with that and navigated some problem areas. And so there's a lot of people in the chat. I know that there were like some concerns about it being a little difficult or challenging to get started with. So, like what kind of tips do you have for that?
So to actually get started with the system, one of the first things that needs to be done is just to understand the alphabet itself. Um, it takes a bit, and I would probably use flashcards for something like this just to get them in my head. At this point, I know my alphabet pretty well, and sometimes when I'm actually spelling things out in the world, I'll use the wrong words for the alphabet because to me and my brain they're equivalent. Yeah. So alphabet, and then what other things would I use? I mean, it really depends on like what your problem areas are. I would also maybe like do your best to write down the things you're having challenges with. And the Talon Voice also has like a really vibrant community that with a bunch of helpful members in a Slack channel. And if you have concerns or things that you need assistance with, there's I don't know 100,000 something like that. There's a lot of active members in that Slack, and people get back to you pretty quickly.
Yeah. And so okay, let's see. One of the other questions was like a cheat sheet. How do they have some resources that folks can download or use to, kind of ease into it?
I honestly don't know about a Talon Hub community command set cheat sheet. I bet there is one. I haven't had to use one for a minute, and so I don't have that on hand.
Yeah.
There is a cursorless cheat sheet for the voice coding, wakey wakey, focus code, snap full, cursorless cheat sheet. Oh, come on, help cursorless. Of course, it doesn't want to demo it right now. There's a really great cheat sheet that's let's see here. I'm using my hands now. Cheat sheet. There we go. Um, for cursorless itself, I'm going to turn off Rango. Wakey wakey, hints off, dross. Um, yeah, so here's the cursorless cheat sheet. So if you were gonna get into cursorless, this is I guess step two of the voice coding process. You have to learn the alphabet and stuff first, and then this. But this cheat sheet exists, and one of the nice parts about it is that when you launch it properly from your VS Code window, it'll actually insert your own words for the different defined things here. Like for example, in my setup, let me see, where's the colors? Yeah, I have other colors besides blue, green, pink, red, yellow. I have a word for my yellow is the word gold, and my I have an additional color, purple, which is the word plum.
Mm. So what do you think are some of the commands or the use cases for this that you might have like stumbled over initially, but you find to be really great to use right now?
Um, I think like when I think about this question, I think more about like what do I find that I like more in curse or in the Talon Voice environment. Um, and I don't necessarily spell as well as I used to. And so I have always used voice tools, whether it's a system like Talon Voice or a voice assistant on my phone to make sure that I'm spelling words correctly. Wakey wakey, focus code, tab new, word discombobulated, dross. Like I wouldn't spell that properly for the first time, and
Yeah.
also I can say it faster than I can write it. So things like that. There's also like just a bunch of little small like silly things like that just bring me joy. The default wake and sleep command is not wakey wakey, dross. But I put that in there because I thought it was fun. There's also like I have it hooked into my Raycast very easily, and so let me see here. Wakey wakey, Ray confetti, lap, dross. Others, I don't know, just th small things like that that bring me joy. Um, as far as like where to go first, I think it's like a targeted approach. Like if I wanted to, for example, one of my desires was to be able to use this system while I was rowing on my row machine, which is like right here. Um, and I have a big TV right there. And so I've got it set up to where I can do voice coding and then interact with my computer with the microphone, and then do things like return text messages. I've reviewed pull requests. I've like read like online forums while I'm getting exercise. So combining actions, things like that.
How hard is it to review a pull request? Because I feel like it's almost a different language there too, to be able to go through and navigate the different spaces and leave comments or
Well, let me see here. Wakey wakey, focus Chrome, go tab one, go way up, hints on, air red. Let's see here. Downer, cap trap, dross. So, as far as like getting to the point where I have enough context to start to review better, I can go through and read this conversation here. Wakey wakey, bat fine, dross. I can also go through and look at like the actual code changes, and I don't necessarily need to fire this up in my system. But if I were to do that, then I would want to pull this particular pull request down. I don't have this set up on my system right now, but I have some terminal commands that make that pretty easy. And so I don't know. It's kind of like when you are editing your own bash profile, like I've got a lot of things that I have built up over time that work for me. Um, and those things help me do things like reviewing pull requests or getting the code onto my computer by voice faster.
yeah, I love that. I love seeing how you've built this into your workflow and all the different capabilities that you can use with Talon Voice. So,
Yeah, and there's
um,
so much more. It's it's like I couldn't demo it all right now. I wish I could. Wakey wakey, focus beta, uh, slide next. I think we're already kind of in the next part. Slide next. Dross. And so, yeah, I think we're supposed to transition now. I'm kind of over time, but I wanted to say voice tools to me are like one of the most fun ways to interact with devices, and I really love the API that the people within the Talon Voice community have developed. I think it's really effective, and I wish that it was on Android and iOS. Um, but yeah, if you want to check it out, feel free to send me a message. Slide next. Here's my information. And then, of course, if you want to take a look at the slides, that link on the right's the slides. And then